In the beginning of the story, we see a child named Nick, whom the other children in his village used to trouble a lot. Nick had no other option but to escape from them, but they would always follow him and hit him with stones. And just like that, when Nick was running away from them one day, he saw some people who were learning kung fu. Nick also immediately reached his master and said that he also wants to learn to fight, so that he can protect himself instead of running away from someone. But that master could not teach him martial arts, even in spite of his clear intentions, because in his village the children were forbidden to learn martial arts. But then Nick's father also reached there and asked Nick to leave immediately, after which he took him to a monk. Actually, his father did not want to teach Nick martial arts at all, because, according to him, after learning to fight, people become thugs. That's why he wanted to fight. But instead of helping his father, the monk allowed Nick to learn martial arts, because the monk knew that Nick was doing all this to save himself. The next day, those boys again started to trouble Nick. Those boys also had a boy named Chard, whose father was one of the richest men in the village. After being troubled by all of them, Nick started learning kung fu alone. He had the ability to learn things very quickly. That's why he was able to learn kung fu in just one day. But after that day, Nick was constantly trying to improve himself. After a few years, when he grew up, Chard and his companions attacked Nick again, because they all wanted to take revenge for their humiliation a few years ago. But even after bringing the whole army with him, Nick took them all to the jungle and beat them badly. When Chard went home and told his father about this, his father said, "Why did you attack him?" Actually, the reason for this was that Nick was a very good boy. Because of his ability, he used to get money to fight the nearby village fighters. And in these fights, Chard's father also used to put money on Nick and earn a lot of money. That's why he asked Chard to stay away from Nick. In the whole village, Nick was also called a money-making machine, along with a dangerous fighter. But all this changed when Nick fought a fighter named Karu. During that fight, Karu defeated Nick very easily. In the meantime, he fell into the river unconsciously, but his loyal villagers left him unconsciously. But after a while, a drunk pulled Nick out of the river, and as soon as he regained consciousness, he first asked about his master and companions, on which that man explained to him that actually, because of his defeat, his money was lost. That's why those people left him here in anger. Hearing this, Nick felt very bad. After this, that man suggested Nick to go to different places and learn different kung fu styles. And with this technique, he won't be able to go much further. Nick understood that man's words, and then he set off on his journey. After walking for a while, he reached a kung fu school, and he immediately started learning. And when the teacher of that school looked at Nick, he asked him why he came there, on which Nick told him that he wants to learn different kung fu styles from different places. His answer was that the master liked it very much, and he allowed Nick to learn there. After working hard there for a few days, Nick started defeating the best fighters there. Seeing his ability, the master was very happy, and that's why he taught Nick a special technique with which he could defeat anyone easily. One day, when a man from Chad was buying goods from the market, he saw Nick practicing in the nearby area, and he immediately took this news and reached Chad. The next day, Chad went to attack that school with his companions. He threatened the master and said that, "I will give Nick to him, and if he doesn't do this, he will burn down his entire school." Hearing this threat, the master was very angry, but he was still talking to Chad very comfortably. But then, a man from Chad said to take the master's daughter. But before that, the matter got worse. Nick himself came there and handed himself over to Chad and his men. Chad wanted to take Nick's hand and drag him from there. But at that time, his men went to the villager's house. Seeing this, Nick couldn't stop himself, and he immediately set himself free. He attacked Chad and beat him badly, and then went to help the villagers. There was no other option but to accept defeat. That's why he ran away from there immediately. Nick understood from all this that if he will stay in that school for more days, then all of them will be in danger. That's why he decided to leave and go somewhere else. Chad's father was very angry with him, who also helped Nick to escape. When Nick was going through the jungle, he met a man named Bung Kut, who wanted to learn kung fu with him. The next day, Nick and Bung Kut reached a village where there was going to be a show at night. Bung Kut immediately reached there to ask Ling Ling for work. After that, Ling Ling took them to her father, who first refused to keep them at work. But when they found out that they were ready to give them some money, then Ling Ling's father immediately agreed to keep them at work. That night, Nick and Bung Kut worked as actors in the show to earn money. The next morning, when Bung Kut opened his eyes, he found out that Nick had already left. On the other side, Chard and his men started attacking the villagers according to his plan. This time, a girl named Lim Young also became the victim of this attack. But at that time, Nick passed away. Chard and his men were defeated again, and Nick was leaving the village. At that time, the girl gave him a golden ring and a big horse as a gift, as a reward for saving his life. After a while, Nick reached a village where he found out that the martial arts school of that village was the best school in that area. After getting this news, Nick immediately went to meet the master there, who saw Nick's ability and immediately made him his student. And then the master met him with Bung Kut, who had already reached there. After this, Nick started learning from the master. And after a few days, the master understood the hard work and ability of Nick. That's why he asked Nick to take part in an upcoming competition. After which, Nick got ready for the competition with a lot of noise, because he didn't want to lose his master in any way. On the day of the competition, Nick met Ling Ling and Lim Yuang, who had come to visit that village. Before the competition, everyone thought that Nick and his master were weak. So, Nick named his master and defeated all the fighters there. After the competition ended, Nick said goodbye to his master and moved on to his journey. And this time, Bung Kut, Ling Ling, and another man were going to go with him. Soon they met a man who liked to drink a lot, but despite this, he was the best swordsman there. That's why the four of them started learning swordsmanship by giving him a few bottles of alcohol. After working hard for the next few days, the four of them started learning swordsmanship. Before leaving, the four of them were given each sword as a gift. After this, when they were moving towards their next destination, Nick and his men attacked them in the middle of the jungle. "Why aren't you killing this monkey? He is crazy and attacks again and again." Bung Kut was shot in his fist, because of which Nick killed all the men of the forest. But once again, the forest managed to escape. After this, Nick and his men shot Bung Kut with a weapon, in which a man named Finn helped them. There Nick met Lim Yuang, who was actually the daughter of the same fighter named Karu, who once defeated Nick. After this, Karu told Nick that he should take part in the Kung Fu competition organized by the king, so that he can defeat him again. But this time, Nick was completely ready, and he challenged Karu that he would definitely defeat him. For the next few days, Nick kept training, and on the day of the competition, Nick and Karu defeated all the other fighters easily. Friends, if you liked this video of ours, then do not forget to like the video by subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching the video.